When booking an economy flight from London to Sydney, there are over 21,000 flight options from over 28 airlines. So which ones are the best? Well, keep watching to find out as we examine each airline direct and non-direct flight options. This time, we searched fares and schedules across February, March, May, and June 2026. For this guide, our main priorities are speed and comfort, helping you find the quickest and most comfortable way to get from London to Sydney. And to make sense of that, we first need to understand how these flights actually operate. Due to the vast distance, planes cannot yet fly non-stop to Sydney. However, that hasn't stopped some airlines from marketing these flights as direct services. These flights keep the same flight number throughout the journey, and you don't have to change aircraft. However, once you reach Singapore, you will need to disembark and pass through a short security screening while the plane refuels. Before continuing on to Sydney, let's start with my national airline, British Airways. They operate a daily, direct service to Sydney, sometimes using their 787 Dreamliner, but most often the Boeing 777-300ER. Weirdly, despite being marketed as a direct service, it's not the fastest way to get to Sydney. The outbound and inbound sectors both take around an hour longer than the quickest one-stop options. British Airways has recently completed the refurbishment of its 7773-100ER fleet, which ranges from about 4 to 15 years old. On board, you now get a new 10-inch high-resolution touchscreen, a USB and USB-C port, and a bifolding table and adjustable headrest. However, this is where the positives start to taper off. You still only get an average 31-inch seat pitch, and the aircraft pressurizes at 8 to 1,000 feet, meaning you'll likely feel more fatigue after such a long flight compared with passengers on newer aircraft like the A380 or A350. British Airways' cheapest basic fares do not include checked luggage. Adding a bag will currently cost around £50 each way. Full fare economy includes one checked bag, but many travelers unknowingly book the basic fare when chasing the lowest price. And of course, British Airways has a habit of appearing in the news for delays, IT outages, and data issues, not exactly confidence-inspiring on a 25-plus-hour journey. Passenger feedback on BA15 and BA16, the flights operating this route, is mixed. Some travelers find the cabin comfortable enough and appreciate the familiar British Airways service style. Others report that the cabins can feel tired. The entertainment selection lags behind competitors, and cleanliness tends to drop off during the second sector after Singapore. Following on is the airline most people associate with this route, Qantas. Qantas Flight 2 has been carrying passengers from London down to Sydney since 1947. It first operated with the Lockheed Super Constellation before the Boeing 707 took over in 1959. 12 years later, the iconic jumbo jet, the Boeing 747, took on the job for almost 40 years, until the Airbus A380 was introduced on the route in 2008. In 2012, I was lucky enough to fly on Qantas Flight 2, all the way to Sydney myself, and it remains one of the best economy flights I've ever taken. On board, you get a 32-inch seat pitch and a self-service snack bar, something you definitely don't get on British Airways. In addition, the A380 cabin is pressurized at 6,000 feet, so you feel noticeably less fatigue compared with airlines using older aircraft pressurized at 8,000 feet. The one thing I didn't enjoy was the timing. The late evening departure from London, combined with the early morning arrival into Sydney, left me completely wiped out for days afterwards. Of course, that was almost 13 years ago. Qantas has since refurbished its fleet, but the exact upgrades in economy are unclear. Some sources suggest the refresh only involved new seat cushioning, while others say it included an updated in-flight entertainment system. So it's hard to confirm whether the screen size is 10 inches or 12 inches, but either way, there is no Wi-Fi on board. That said, Qantas is consistently ranked as having one of the best entertainment systems in the world, even without internet access. Qantas also has an exceptional safety record, with no fatalities since it began jet operations in 1959. Similar to British Airways, Qantas is no longer the fastest way to get to Australia. However, flying with Qantas gives you the option to bundle internal Australian flights at a reduced price, but only if you book directly through the Qantas website, not through comparison sites like Kayak. The deals aren't as generous as they were back in 2012, but there are still bargains to be found. Bottom line, Qantas still ticks most of the boxes and delivers a nostalgic, historic travel experience. Though it's now facing competition from carriers offering more modern products and faster overall journeys. With direct flights out of the way, let's turn to indirect options, beginning with the airlines that usually offer the lowest fares. China Eastern provides the cheapest fares to Sydney. Its bad reputation may put you off, but let's take a closer look at what they actually offer. The first leg is operated by a 777-300, which is most likely to feature the refurbished cabin. These upgraded jets offer a generous 32-inch seat pitch, a bifolding tray table, a dedicated cup holder, a 10.6-inch touchscreen, and free Wi-Fi. And if you're thinking Shanghai Pudong is a geographical disadvantage on this route, you'd be right, however. The airline offsets that by routing through Russian airspace, something non-Chinese carriers cannot do. Believe it or not, the overall flight time can match British Airways Flight 15. That said, China Eastern's schedule usually means a longer stopover in Shanghai Pudong, with the quickest currently just under 5 hours a long time, at an airport known for limited shops, dining options, and amenities, though sleeping pods are available. Transfer procedures can also be confusing, with unclear signage and repeat security checks. On-time performance is also less reliable than many competitors, with delays through Shanghai noted frequently in passenger accounts. The second leg continues on the A350-900, which offers better pressurization, lighter and quieter cabins, and improved humidity control. However, the seat pitch drops to an average 31 inches on this sector. The soft product remains a weak point. Catering is average at best, and while the entertainment system includes some popular Western titles, most of the content is Chinese films and TV shows don't expect the latest Hollywood releases. Cabin crew service can also vary widely, and onboard temperature is often reported as warmer than average, which some find uncomfortable on overnight sectors. The next cheapest airline is China Southern. And similar to China Eastern, you can expect longer stopovers, especially on the lowest fares. The shortest layover is currently around 3 hours on the outbound leg, but on the return, this increases to about 9 hours. Despite these delays on the ground, the overall total journey time is similar to Qantas on the outbound, and only around an hour slower on the inbound sector. Where China Southern becomes appealing at this price point is in the aircraft it uses. The airline operates newer, wide bodies on this route, the 787 Dreamliner and the A350. Both aircraft pressurize their cabins at 6 to 1,000 feet, which helps reduce fatigue compared with older jets that pressurize at 8 to 1,000. Several of China Southern's Dreamliners and A350s also feature cabins with up to a 32-inch seat pitch, which is above average and noticeably more generous than British Airways. Entertainment and comfort can vary depending on the exact aircraft and configuration. On the newer planes, passengers can expect a modern touchscreen, USB charging, and a fresh cabin design with quieter operation, improved humidity, and better lighting. However, as with many Chinese carriers, Western entertainment options may be limited, and catering is often described as average rather than memorable. One major upside is the baggage allowance, which includes 2 checked bags, usually up to 23 kilos each, a strong perk for long-haul travelers. In short, if you're willing to accept longer layovers, China Southern offers modern aircraft, a good seat pitch on many flights, and a generous baggage policy, often at one of the lowest price points on the London to Sydney route. Surprisingly, Cathay Pacific averages the next cheapest fares on the London-Sydney route, which is remarkable considering the quality of the product. After a difficult post-COVID recovery, the airline has rebuilt its reputation and, in 2025, won the Skytrax Best Economy Class Award. And it's easy to see why. Cathay's growing fleet of A350 aircraft provides one of the most comfortable economy cabins in the world. Passengers enjoy what Skytrax rates as the second-best economy seat globally, featuring a generous 32-inch seat pitch, a well-designed tablet holder, USB and universal power sockets, and an 11.1-inch high-definition touchscreen. The in-flight entertainment is outstanding, offering a huge library of films, TV, live sports, music, and regional content. Cathay also allows passengers to connect their own headphones using either a standard headphone jack or a USB lead, an option many airlines still don't provide. Catering is similarly impressive, with Cathay ranking second place in the Skytrax 2025 Catering Awards. Expect high-quality meals blending Asian and Western flavors, presented with the care and consistency the airline is known for. It also helps that Cathay uses Hong Kong International Airport, one of the smoothest, most well-organized hubs in the world. Transfers are quick. The terminal is bright and modern, and there's plenty to eat, see, and do. As far as stopovers go, Hong Kong is about as stress-free as it gets on a London-Sydney journey. Most Cathay routings to Sydney, however, involve the older Boeing 777-300ER. Since 2024, these aircraft have been undergoing a major retrofit to introduce the same new economy seat found on the A350. If you happen to get one of the refurbished jets, the comfort level is extremely close to the A350 experience. On the non-refurbished aircraft, though, there are a few differences. You'll miss out on the A350's advanced pressurization and humidity control, and the cabin is slightly noisier, dimmer, and more compact. This can lead to increased fatigue on ultra-long-haul flights, even though the seat pitch and overall comfort remain strong by industry standards. Thai Airways is one of the priciest options on the London-Sydney list. If you saw my London-Tokyo video, you'll know Thai performed brilliantly there, with great service, warm hospitality, and a comfortable 9-abreast 777 cabin, wider seats, 32-inch pitch, footrests, and consistently good meals. The airline also offers a solid outbound travel time of 20 hours 45 minutes. But on this route, the value simply isn't there. At these prices, Thai is hard to recommend when several competitors offer newer aircraft, better humidity and pressurization, newer entertainment systems, faster travel times, and importantly, lower fares. Thai still shines on many Asia-bound routes, but for London, Sydney, the pricing doesn't match the price. Unfortunately, Korean Air also falls into this same category, a high-quality airline held back by a difficult flight schedule and a major geographical limitation. Because the airline operates only one daily flight to London, passengers face the longest total travel time of any option on this list. The return itinerary in particular is challenging, totaling 42 hours and 20 minutes, including a lengthy 15-hour overnight stop in Seoul. Seoul Incheon is a fantastic airport, and the city is well worth exploring, but with an overnight connection, most travelers will likely need a hotel. Despite the awkward timings, Korean Air does offer a very strong economy product. The route is normally operated by the 777-300ER. Though, if you're lucky, you may find the service swapped to the 74-7800, one of the last remaining passenger jumbo jets in the world. On board, both aircraft provide generous seat comfort with a 33 to 34-inch seat pitch, a bifolding tray table, an independent cup holder, USB charging, and a universal power socket. Catering is consistently well-reviewed, with Korean dishes and Western options available on long-haul flights. Another strong perk is the airline's baggage allowance, which includes 2 checked bags. I thought to discuss these airlines both at the same time, as they code-share with each other, offer a similarly high-quality product, but also share one massive geographical limitation. On both ANA and Japan Airlines, you'll find an unmatched seat pitch of 33 to 34 inches, and because both airlines use aircraft with fewer seats per row, you get a wider seat and a noticeably more spacious cabin than most other carriers on this route. Japan Airlines is especially renowned for its world-class economy, with modern cabins and excellent seat comfort. ANA's international 777s even feature a 13.3-inch touchscreen, one of the largest economy screens in the industry. Both airlines deliver calm, premium-feeling cabins that sit somewhere between economy and premium economy in terms of comfort. Catering is another major strength. Japan Airlines serves meals created by finalists from the Red U-35 culinary competition, with seasonal Japanese and Western options, plus a self-service snack bar on many flights. ANA is equally praised for its presentation, attention to detail, and high-quality Japanese cuisine. The main drawback is geography. Flying via Tokyo adds a significant amount of extra distance, typically adding at least 3 extra hours outbound and around 2 hours on the return, compared with the fastest one-stop options. However, Tokyo is an excellent stopover, city clean, efficient, beautifully organized, and Haneda Airport offers smooth transits, plenty of food options, showers, rest areas, and some of the best airport service in the world. Since we're already talking about very long travel times, it's worth mentioning that you don't have to fly east to reach Sydney. Some airlines also sell tickets going the long way round, heading west via Los Angeles, San Francisco, or even Vancouver. However, there are some major drawbacks. The shortest westbound itinerary takes around 26 hours and 20 minutes, adding more than 5 extra hours on board compared with the quickest eastbound flights. And because you cross the international date line, you also lose an entire day on the calendar, which can make the journey feel even longer. The return trip is a bit more reasonable, with flight times just under 24 hours, still slower than Emirates' 21 hours and 45 minutes, but not by much thanks to strong Pacific tailwinds. Generally speaking, this westbound option is only worth considering during peak seasons, when fares can occasionally be cheaper than the traditional Asia or Middle East routings. American Airlines offers the lowest average fares on the westbound route, and they're often the most desirable option, not because of the onboard product, but because of their code share with British Airways and Qantas. For aviation fans, this opens up a rare opportunity. You could fly on a British Airways, a 380 on the first leg, followed by a Qantas, a 380 on the second. For non-aviation lovers, the priority is simple aim to get the Qantas A380 on the Trans-Pacific sector. It offers a noticeably better experience than an American Airlines 777. Qantas provides more legroom, a better entertainment system, and even a self-service snack bar. And the A380 itself is a far more comfortable aircraft, which means less fatigue, fewer headaches, and reduced jet lag compared with the American 777. If you want to know who to pick for the first leg, make sure you hit that subscribe button. United offers the cheapest east to west fares through San Francisco, mostly operated by the 777 300ER. Economy comes with a standard 31-inch pitch, basic entertainment, and older cabins. It's the lowest cost option heading west. Just don't expect anything beyond. At first, I wasn't even going to include Air New Zealand in this video, but I know some of you would be wondering, what about Air New Zealand? Well, here's the situation. Air New Zealand has a solid economy product. On most long-haul aircraft, you'll get a 32-inch seat pitch, a comfortable cabin design, good service, and one of the better in-flight entertainment systems in the region. Under normal circumstances, it's an airline many travelers genuinely enjoy. But for London to Sydney, unfortunately, it makes almost no sense. Since Air New Zealand no longer serves London, all passengers are routed west via a code share with Air Canada. That means flying from London to Vancouver, then continuing to Auckland on a Boeing 777-300ER, and finally taking a 4-hour hop to Sydney on an A321. The total journey time? 33 hours and 35 minutes, one of the longest itineraries available. Combine that with some of the highest fares on the entire route, and it becomes very hard to justify. Going back to the cheaper end of the list, we come to Malaysia Airlines, an airline I've personally flown to Australia with, though that was many years ago, back in the era of the jumbo jet and later the A380. Those iconic aircraft are now long gone, replaced by a much more modern, if slightly less charismatic fleet of a 350-900s. Onboard the economy cabin is surprisingly varied. Seat pitch depends on where you sit. Rows 27 to 41, 31 inches. Rows 16 to 25, 32 inches. Rows 12 to 15, a very generous 36 inches. As for seat selection, prices vary significantly. Extra legroom seats with 36 inches of pitch can cost up to £80 one way on the cheapest fares. Seats with 32 inches of legroom are more affordable, at around £15 one way. Standard seats cost the same, whether you book economy value or economy basic, though economy basic includes free rebooking if plans change. For travelers wanting more flexibility, Economy Flex is worth noting. It includes 35 kilos of baggage, unlimited free date changes, and priority check-in, boarding, and baggage handling. Once you arrive in Kuala Lumpur, you'll transfer through the satellite terminal, which is compact, calm, and easy to navigate. Facilities are decent, with a few cafes, a small food court, free Wi-Fi, and plenty of seating. It's not the most exciting hub, but it's clean, efficient, and generally more relaxed than mega hubs like Singapore or Dubai. During longer layovers, travelers often appreciate the quieter atmosphere and shorter walking distances. The second leg to Sydney is operated by Malaysia's brand new A330-900neo, and this is where the airline really shines. These aircraft feature a consistent 32-inch seat pitch, updated mood lighting, and a stunning 13.3-inch 4K bezel-less touchscreen. Solo travelers and couples will especially enjoy the two-abreast seating along the windows, which feels more private and spacious than the traditional three-seat layout found on bigger aircraft. Like Korean Air, China Airlines only operates a single daily service from Heathrow, and this comes with some scheduling drawbacks. The layover in Taipei is just over 5 hours, and somehow the final sector into Sydney takes more than 15 hours, giving China Airlines the second slowest inbound travel time on the entire route. That said, the airline is well regarded for attentive cabin crew and reliably good food. The A350-900 operating the London sector comes in two different configurations, one with a 31-inch seat pitch and another with 32 inches. Screen size remains consistent at 11.1 inches, and the cabins are bright, quiet, and modern. After many years of financial difficulty, Air India is now attempting a major comeback. The airline has invested in brand new aircraft, a refreshed economy product, and improved service training. Unfortunately, the airline is still very much in a transition phase, and passenger experiences remain extremely mixed. Some travelers report noticeably better service, improved food quality, and cleaner cabins compared with previous years. But many others still encounter the issues Air India has long been criticized for dirty or poorly maintained cabins, inconsistent customer service, malfunctioning in-flight entertainment, broken seats or armrests, weak air vents, and general wear and tear that you wouldn't expect to find on a long-haul international carrier. The good news is that on the first leg, Air India now operates its brand new flagship, the A350, offering a modern cabin, improved air quality, and a significantly better hard product than before. The second leg, however, is where concerns arise. Some of Air India's older 787 Dreamliners are known to be in poor condition, with reports of yellowing cabin walls, faulty reading lights, broken seats, malfunctioning entertainment screens, and hygiene issues. There have also been recurring reports of mechanical reliability concerns on certain older aircraft. If you still feel compelled to fly Air India, aim specifically for the 787-9, which previously belonged to Vistara. These aircraft have been better maintained and feature refreshed cabins, making them the most comfortable and reliable Dreamliners in Air India's fleet. Air China may not always offer the lowest average fares, but if you're lucky, you can sometimes pick up a return to Sydney for as low as £607. That's remarkable value, especially considering the airline's flight times. In fact, Air China's routing is surprisingly efficient. On the outbound journey, you'll spend 5 minutes less in the air than on British Airways' so-called direct service. And on the return, Air China actually delivers the third shortest total flight time, beating Qantas, Singapore Airlines, British Airways, and many others. But the catch becomes obvious on the ground. Air China does not offer quick stopovers. Most layovers in Beijing sit around the 10-hour mark. The good news is that China offers a free 24-hour transit visa, so you're free to head to a nearby hotel or even do some sightseeing rather than waiting in the terminal. If long transit times aren't for you, the aircraft themselves may be another reason to hesitate. All four sectors are typically operated by the 777-300. Even on the refurbished versions, economy offers only a 31-inch seat pitch, a 9-inch screen, and the aircraft is pressurized at 8 to 1,000 feet, meaning you'll likely feel more fatigued than on modern jets like the A350 or 787. Up next is an airline very proud to have recently launched its first-ever service to Australia, Turkish Airlines. Last year, Turkish began flying to Sydney from Istanbul via Kuala Lumpur. It's one of those direct but not non-stop flights. The flight number stays the same, so you don't have to worry about changing planes during the journey. Of course, you still stop in Istanbul and Kuala Lumpur, but depending on how you like to break up long flights, this routing might actually work in your favor. You get 3 manageable segments, around 4 hours to Istanbul, roughly 10 hours to Kuala Lumpur, and just under 10 hours to Sydney. For some travelers, those shorter bursts of flying make the trip feel far less exhausting. The service currently operates 4 times per week. Looking ahead, Turkish Airlines is aiming to turn this into a non-stop Istanbul-Sydney service in 2026 using their brand new A350 aircraft. That's an exciting development, but for now, the route remains a 3-stage journey. On board, the new A350 offers a 31-inch seat pitch, a crisp 12-inch entertainment screen, and Turkish Airlines' highly regarded hospitality. The airline consistently earns praise for its excellent catering and attentive service, both of which help take the sting out of such a long journey. Another airline that technically offers a 3-stop routing to Sydney is Air France, but in reality, it makes very little sense for most travelers. Air France does provide one of the best economy experiences in Europe, but it still doesn't quite compare with the leading Eastern carriers. And then there's the headache of transferring through Paris Charles de Gaulle, an airport well known for long walks, confusing layouts, and tight connection windows. Because Air France doesn't fly directly to Sydney, you'll be routed east to Singapore and then handed over to a codeshare on a Qantas A380 for the final sector. Years ago, this could make sense if you were starting in a smaller UK regional city with limited long-haul options. But today, nearly every UK airport served by Air France is also served by airlines like Emirates and Qatar, both of which offer faster connections, better aircraft, and often lower fares. Given the pricing, the extra stops, and the less efficient routing, this is one option we can safely give a miss. Again, similar to Air France, Swiss also offers a 3-stop option to Sydney, but with one important difference. Swiss operates from regional airports in the UK that other long-haul airlines don't, and this can make the routing surprisingly convenient for certain travelers. Take Bristol, for example. The first flight to Zurich takes roughly the same amount of time as the coach journey to Heathrow. And what about Newquay? Yes, that's right, Newquay. Edelweiss operates seasonal summer flights from Newquay to Zurich, which connects smoothly with a Swiss service to Singapore and then onward to Sydney. It's still a pricey option, and travel times remain long. But for anyone living in the Southwest, being able to avoid the 5-hour trip to Heathrow can be a real advantage. Swiss may not be the most obvious choice on this route, but the convenience of those regional departures gives it a unique appeal. Again, just like in the last video, Etihad Airways deserves top marks for its effort on this route. They offer some of the fastest overall flight times, operate some of the newest and most comfortable aircraft, and now run everything through their brand new terminal in Abu Dhabi. Their hard product is strong, and their meals are generally well regarded. However, Etihad has a mixed reputation for service. Some passengers report inconsistent or poor customer care, and the airline is known for handling delays, cancellations, and lost luggage poorly. On board, Etihad's economy product is genuinely impressive. Passengers are served 3 main meals on long-haul sectors and have access to a generous entertainment library. Many of the newer aircraft also offer Wi-Fi for purchase. Like many airlines, Etihad has a mix of seat pitches across its economy cabin. Standard seats offer around 31 inches, but the rows toward the front can stretch up to 33 inches, providing noticeably more comfort, especially on flights of this length. Seat selection fees do apply. Etihad has recently emerged from its financial difficulties, and reports suggest service consistency is gradually improving. If the price is right, Etihad can be an excellent choice. Fast, modern, and comfortable. Qatar Airways is often hailed as one of the best airlines in the world, but on the London-Sydney route, that reputation becomes a little more debatable. From Doha, passengers actually have 3 different options depending on the day of travel, and each one offers a noticeably different experience. On some days, you may be able to catch their A380 to Sydney. This aircraft remains one of the most comfortable options in Qatar's fleet, though in economy, the seat pitch is still fairly standard, at around 31 inches. On other days, Qatar passengers are placed on a Virgin Australia 7773-100ER. These aircraft feature a 333 layout, meaning wider seats than Qatar's own Tenebris 777s, along with a 32-inch seat pitch and a 9-inch entertainment screen. The third option involves an additional stop in Brisbane. From Doha, you'll board a Qatar 7773-100ER, but be aware that Qatar operates multiple configurations of this aircraft. If you get a newly refurbished version, you'll enjoy a 13.3-inch 4 Kelvins touchscreen, modern interiors, and Wi-Fi. If you get an older jet, you'll have the benefit of wider 9 abreast seating, but a smaller 10.6-inch screen and a more dated cabin. On both versions, seat pitch is usually between 31 and 32 inches. And of course, Qatar's world-leading soft product remains consistently strong with excellent meals, polished service, and generous amenities for economy class. From Brisbane, Qatar code shares with Virgin Australia on the Boeing 737. This 3-stop option might appeal to travelers who want an extra break from flying or who prefer breaking up the journey into shorter sectors. Vietnam Airlines performed extremely well in my last video on the London-Tokyo route, offering great value, modern aircraft, and solid comfort. However, for London-Sydney, the story changes slightly, as the average price is noticeably higher and doesn't always represent the same level of value. The routing varies by direction. On the way out, you'll connect in Hanoi, while the return journey typically goes via Ho Chi Minh City. From Vietnam to Sydney, the airline operates the A350, which is one of the more comfortable aircraft in their fleet and a solid choice for the long final sector. In economy, seats offer a 32-inch pitch, slightly more generous than the standard 31. Entertainment is delivered through a 10.4-inch touchscreen, featuring the latest movies along with an unexpectedly large collection of Marvel films. Passengers can also use Vietnam Airlines' Reading app platform to access digital magazines and publications. Catering on Vietnam Airlines tends to blend Vietnamese and Western dishes, and most passengers report it to be flavorful and satisfying. The main downsides on the Sydney run are the higher fares and the less efficient overall routing compared with Middle Eastern or East Asian carriers. Layovers in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh can be long depending on your chosen schedule, and both airports, while improving, still lack the smooth connection experience you'd get in places like Singapore, Hong Kong, or Doha. That leaves just two airlines remaining, and it won't surprise anyone which ones they are: Emirates and Singapore Airlines. These two carriers consistently deliver the strongest combination of comfort, reliability, and speed on the London to Sydney route. Both operate the A380, offer around 32 inches of seat pitch, high catering standards, strong entertainment systems, and some of the fastest overall travel times. That said, there are a few key differences. The A380 Super Jumbo itself plays a big role here. It provides a smoother ride, quieter cabins, wider seats, and better air quality, meaning less fatigue, fewer headaches, and reduced jet lag. And because it's the largest passenger aircraft in the world, there's often a better chance of finding empty seats, or even sitting near the very front of economy for a calmer experience. With Singapore Airlines, there's a higher chance you'll end up on a 777-300ER. These aircraft offer wider seats and a more spacious feel thanks to the 333 layout, but they lack the improved pressurization systems found on newer aircraft. Singapore Airlines has also done less of a job refurbishing its A380 fleet. Gone are the hidden upstairs economy cabins. Today, the interiors are finished in black and green, with smaller 11.1-inch screens. Compared to Emirates' newer cabins with 13.3-inch displays, the experience feels noticeably less special. Singapore Airlines does pull ahead is inclusions. Seat selection is free, and passengers get 2 checked bags with a combined weight of 23 kilos. Singapore is also part of Star Alliance, which makes earning and redeeming miles easier if you collect points with airlines like Lufthansa, United, ANA, or Air Canada, especially useful for UK and European travelers. Emirates, by contrast, charges for seat selection on most economy fares typically starting around £20 per leg, and basic fares include 1 checked bag up to 23 kilos. Emirates Skywards program is solid, but it's more limited unless you fly Emirates regularly. In terms of speed, Emirates is the faster option, with a return journey to Sydney taking around 42 hours and 10 minutes, compared to 43 hours and 20 minutes, with Singapore roughly a 50-minute difference. Service is another area where opinions differ. On my own return flight from Singapore, the 14-hour sector included just 2 meal services and 1 drink run, with very little offered during the final 5 hours. On Emirates, you'll typically receive 2 meals on the first 7-hour sector, followed by at least 2 more services on the onward flight to Sydney. Transit experience also matters. Dubai requires 2 security checks, one of which is known for long queues followed by an enhanced screening at the gate. Singapore, by contrast, usually involves just 1 security check, and many UK and Australia flights operate from Terminal 3, allowing for surprisingly short and stress-free connections, sometimes even under an hour. So while both airlines are excellent choices, the decision really comes down to priorities. Emirates for the onboard experience and speed. Singapore Airlines for inclusions and ease of transit. Now that we've looked at all the airlines, let's rank them starting with British Airways. British Airways is one of the most fatiguing options on this route, with just a 31-inch seat pitch on older 777 aircraft. It's also consistently overpriced for a very average long-haul economy product. Qantas is a strong option when priced well, offering solid entertainment, a 32-inch seat pitch, and the A380 comfortable and reliable, but not class-leading. China Eastern often offers the lowest average fares on this route, with a product that can be better than British Airways. The main downside is very long layovers. China Southern ranks above China Eastern thanks to a more modern fleet and better overall consistency. A sensible budget choice. Last year's World's Best Airline offers one of the strongest economy products on this route. With one of the lowest average prices, it delivers excellent value. Thai Airways is overpriced, but still offers more comfort and better service than British Airways. Korean Air sits between Thai Airways and British Airways, offering solid service and a decent onboard product, but it's those long stopovers and flights that are a turnoff. ANA and Japan Airlines arguably offer some of the best economy products available. However, much longer flight times reduce their appeal on the London to Sydney route. American Airlines involves a longer journey than British Airways while remaining expensive. There's very little reason to choose it. United operates older 777 aircraft, with a 31-inch seat pitch on one of the longest routings available. Combined with inconsistent service, this is one to avoid. Air New Zealand offers a decent onboard product, but the journey is very long and often expensive, making it hard to justify. Malaysia Airlines delivers outstanding value, often offering the lowest fares with newer aircraft on the Sydney route than Cathay Pacific. China Airlines ranks above other Chinese carriers thanks to better service and noticeably stronger catering. Air India is best avoided due to poor cabin condition and broken seats. That said, I would rather take the risk and save money rather than flying United or Air New Zealand. Air China involves a very long journey entirely on older 777 aircraft. Turkish Airlines sits between China Eastern and Swiss. The 3 stops may appeal to travelers wanting more breaks, but it's not for everyone. Air France offers a better economy experience than British Airways, but it's overpriced, and the 3-stop routing makes little sense. Swiss is hard to place. It's expensive, but it could be good value for someone living in a regional area. Yes, 3 flights can be fatiguing, but overall it can make the trip feel faster. So, I think placing it at the upper end of acceptable is the right choice. Etihad is a strong, modern choice with excellent aircraft and fast flight times. However, you may need to pay extra to secure a seat pitch above 31 inches, and customer service still has question marks. Qatar arguably offers the best soft product on this route, with excellent catering and service. Older aircraft compared to Etihad slightly hold it back. Vietnam Airlines is hard to place due to variable pricing. The product is strong, better than China Southern, and comparable to China Airlines, but it doesn't reach Qantas or Emirates levels, so don't overpay. Emirates delivers the best overall economy experience on the London to Sydney route. Singapore Airlines may feel slightly less impressive than Emirates, but its inclusive fares and often lower pricing deserve recognition. Overall, it offers a near-premium economy experience.